Hello there. How are you doing? I am back, second time today. So I'm back to mispronounce a few words and upset some people, as usual, and um, and hopefully it will be enjoyable. Yeah, that's my goal. These live streams should be enjoyable. And here's my glasses. Getting old, and all that. Um, Yeah, lots of people here already. That's wonderful. Um, and I've been sitting here for a couple of minutes. I had a look at the chat. Now, if you want to join the chat, you have to subscribe to the channel. That's just how I've set things up. Keeps some of the trolls away. Not all of them, but some of them. It seems to work. We also have at least one moderator here, so we should be okay. Now, I chose a title for this live stream that has a few keywords. SHTF. You know what? When I first heard that term, I was, you know, I was thinking, what does that stand for? And I thought it was some military technical stuff. Uh, but it isn't. It's quite funny. And it kind of describes the situation. In my mind, it kind of describes what we are heading towards right now. Um, but keep in mind, I'm not saying that we will have full Mad Max anarchy, anything like that. It's, and this live stream is not an attempt to guess what will happen. I would rather now try to discuss the fools, and we have one of the dogs here, keeping watch out the window. Yeah, um, the fools. What will happen with the fools? Well, many of them will die in a SHTF situation. I'm talking about a situation where the things we take for granted in society now are no longer there, or your access to those goods and services is limited. So you will have it's a scenario where it's at least a very limited access to hospital. A law and order has kind of broken in pieces. No law and order. And there's a shortage of pretty much most of the essential items that you need. So I'm talking about a situation like that. When we have a situation like that, again, not saying that is going to happen, but if it happens, fools will start to die. It will be painful first, and they will suffer, they will starve, and they will get themselves into situations that are dangerous and harmful and deadly. And eventually, the fools will start dying. So, who are the fools? Well, I would say that fools are people who can't be or won't be flexible, first and foremost, because none of us can be prepared for everything. And if you either do nothing now, or you put all your eggs in one basket, so to speak, then it's a game of it's like you're at risk of ending up as one of those fools. Um, And also, some people, they just have a kind of behavior that gets them in trouble. Let me give you an example, which is actually what inspired me to talk about this today. I had been driving to an area where we walk the dogs, and I was driving back. It's a rural area. It's out in the countryside, and I was taking a turn, to the right, and from main road there, and then a guy in, well, a young guy. It looked like a young guy. He drove past me as I was turning right. So I was turning right, and he went around me there, which is obviously dangerous. Um, he was a fool. And behavior like that will get you into trouble and possibly killed. So people with that kind of behavior will likely not, they won't make it. Um, Surviving in an SHTF scenario is a thinking man's game. It's the thinking man and thinking woman who will survive and thrive in such a scenario. So let me give you a few examples that should warm up the chat and even provoke some people, I guess. Oh, fools. Um, the guy who has 100 guns but no food. um, the guy who has a lot of food, maybe even a homestead, and either no means of defending that homestead, or this idea that he and his family will defend the homestead like forever, week after week, month after month, year after year. To me, that's with no backup plan. Okay, to me, that's a foolish idea. Having a homestead is probably very wise, extremely wise in the way things are going. Not everyone can have a homestead. Having stored some food and supplies, well, actually, quite a lot if you can, is wise, and I would even say necessary now. Um, but having no backup plan means that you're not flexible. You haven't, and to me, that's foolish. So yeah, and there are lots of other people. There are people who, for instance, have a habit of I don't know, taking some kind of substance, and they have to take that every day to feel good about themselves, right? Obviously, that's foolish. Well, it is foolish anyway. And it's foolish. Um, you don't have to be in a SHTF situation for that to be foolish, okay? But it would be especially foolish in such a situation because you won't have access to that, most likely. Um, and I could mention so many examples of people who are fools and who will be fools in such a scenario. Um, but the main thing here, I believe, is that you need to be flexible. You need to be ready to admit that you were wrong and correct your plans, your behavior, and so on and so on. You have to be ready to think on the go. Is that what you say? Think on the go, um, or think as you're going. um, because none of us knows what will happen. You know, right now it looks like we're entering a long period of recession, a limited supply of stuff. And in most Western countries, I think it's not going to be dramatic. It's just going to be a gradual decline, you know. But I could be wrong. If you look at Sri Lanka, that's dramatic. It is dramatic. Um, Bob, thanks a lot for the super chat. That's very kind of you. Some doggo treats. Yes. Um, can I just mention something as well here that I just want to mention it. It hasn't really that much to do with what we're talking about, but well, maybe in a way. Watch out for ticks, okay? Especially well in Scandinavia now, there are so many ticks, and they carry Lyme disease. It's a terrible disease, so watch out for ticks. Avoid those areas, okay? Because try to avoid getting sick now if you can, you know. I will never forget what happened to me. That was the day after, was it the day after? The day after the first lockdown started here. Uh, I got a, what's it called? A hernia. When you tear the fabric in your, your stomach, you know. Um, I can't point where I'm sitting now, but yeah. But I didn't go to the hospital. I didn't want to. It's okay now. It has healed. But that the timing was terrible. The timing was terrible. So, okay. Hernia. Yes. Okay. So again, what can I say? Fools will die. It's a bit dramatic to write that in the title, but well, fools are dying every day because they are being fools. But especially in an SHTF scenario, many of them will not make it because they are making this foolish decisions. So it is not rocket science, as I always say, but um, you know, when it comes to preparedness, I think that it is wise to be, as I said, flexible. It's wise to, to have a stocked up on food and supplies. But you should also have a backup plan. You should be ready to leave your home. Yes, I will say that to the end of days. Because people I find vastly underestimate the probability of having to leave their home. Um, it's I'm not saying that's what you should do, just, oh, run for the hills like that. No, I'm telling you that if you look at similar scenarios around the world, people very often they have no choice. They have to leave. And it's better to leave before everyone is leaving. Okay. um, Ed, well, been prepping for over a year because of you. Is that me? You mean? Well, that's wonderful. If I had such a positive influence. Zoe saying they're behaving like an ostrich. Yes, good point. I don't know if you're talking about people in general, or I'll take a look at the chat now in a few seconds, but I wanted to say this as well. Um, I think that most people will just deny what's going on. Have you seen that cartoon image? I think it's a dog sitting by a chair, sitting by a table on a chair, and the building is on fire, and it says in that bubble, everything is fine or something like that. But people are like that. Most people are like that, and they will ignore what's going on for as long as they can. And this might be, I don't know, but maybe this is why when things happen, you will typically see that suddenly everyone is leaving. Maybe that's because they were ignoring what was going on, and they are ignoring it until they can't ignore it anymore. And that's when you see refugee crises, you know. Um, so, you know, I guess most people, from what I can see, they will just keep paying their bills, and they will watch TV, and they will do as they're told. And I think the standard of living that people can accept, people will accept a very low standard of living before they actually do something. That's what I think. Um, I hope I'm wrong on that one. Okay. Let's see. Um, yeah. Heather says a lot of folks in the States never expect it to get that bad. Ask folks in Lebanon or Sri Lanka how bad it can get. Yes. And I think for me, as someone who lives in Europe, it feels odd to say that because I feel like I don't live in Europe because I live in Norway, but Norway is part of Europe, but it's not part of the mainland. You know what I mean? But the war in the Ukraine, it's not that far away, you know, and yeah. But anyway, Emerald Rider says the best investment is in self-sustainment. Yes. And Salty Soldier says, to be honest, visiting channels like this makes us fools. We are on lists. I think we should be a little bit careful getting too deep into thoughts like that because I don't think you are at risk. I don't think watching this makes them put you on a list. I truly don't think so. Um, that's not how it works. Um, let's see here. Yeah. Good enough says it's getting serious in the US. Food prices are increasing so rapidly, and it is pricing people out on many products that we are used to buy. Grocery carts are nearly empty now. Yeah, let me say something about that. I understand that healthy food is the food that's getting more expensive. Like, it's not, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but it's not, the sugary, high processed crap food that's getting expensive. Am I right? So, living a healthy lifestyle, eating healthy food, is becoming more and more expensive. Yeah, Ashley says yes. Lorem Ipsum says yes. It's all food, all food. Um, I I'm I would like to say that for me, I eat a lot of red meat. I try to eat as much red meat as I can. I know it's healthy. I know it's what I need to eat, and sadly, it's become much more expensive. And it was expensive before. Now it's even worse. Um, yes, yes. I've been a week at sea, and I loved it. Um, let's see. Yeah, Ashley says been storing beans. If you store beans, and you know this already, maybe, but do also store rice, because the amino acids in rice and beans together, um, you will cover all the essential amino acids there. You don't get the complete amino acid profile, so to speak, but from those essential amino acids, your body will be able to make the other amino acids that you need. So you can actually survive on rice and beans. It's not ideal, but it's better than nothing, and it is you do get all the essential amino acids in that. Um, yeah, let's get into the more practical stuff a little bit. Let's see. I would say that yeah, I can't. It's moving fast here now, which is wonderful. Um, but let's get a little bit more practical. I was on Berserker Gang 2019's live stream yesterday, and we talked a little bit there, or in the chat there, we talked about the importance of having a wood burning stove. So I know if you live in an apartment, that's not possible, maybe, but if you can, get a wood burning stove now, get it installed if you don't have one already. Get firewood. You can get cheap firewood, and you can actually source firewood from the side of the road, depending on where you live, of course. Um, it's um, it's going to the warming your house is going to become very, very expensive, much, much more expensive than it is now. That's what I think. Again, I hope I'm wrong, but why wouldn't they increase the price? Everything looks like they're going to do that. So if you have a wood burning stove, try to get one that enables you to make food on the stove if you can. We don't have that here. Um, we can. It's possible, but we have an open fireplace that can be closed. But we're looking at options now of getting one of those stoves where you can put a kettle on top. So okay. You have to dry the firewood thoroughly, okay? Because wet firewood will, as someone wrote here, yeah, I can't see that comment now, but if you use wet firewood, it will after a while make the chimney, what's it called? Um, yeah, it will be create a layer of soot and stuff um, inside there. Let's see. Yeah, so Pammy Ray says survival skills can be very useful. Absolutely. Okay, lots of people are saying creosote. I only know the Norwegian word for it, but you know what I mean. But if you live in a modern building in a city, you don't have a fireplace most likely, um, and that is one of the drawbacks of living in a city, I guess. And again, living in a city is riskier than living in the countryside, the way things are going now. Um, but maybe you can't move. Maybe you have a job there in the city. I don't know, but I'm not going to tell you that. Well, you have to move, because if you are listening to this, if you are here in the chat, um, this is you know all this already. But again, I think, and I'm going to say now. I remember what I was going to say here about people who are unprepared. And I know lots of preppers, they are saying that if you're unprepared now, it's too late, you will suffer, you won't make it, and this and that. I think that is not necessarily true because there are a lot of resourceful people out there. They will find solutions even if they are totally unprepared. It's much easier if you are prepared, of course. But there are also people who will manage, who will survive, and who will find a way to thrive through an SHTF situation, even if they have, you know, everything against them. You know, that's what I think. Um, Emerald Rider, thanks a lot for the donation. Thanks a lot. That's very kind of you. Yeah, there certainly is a globalist agenda. Um, and so you have the World Economic Forum, you have the Bilderberg Group, um, and these people have this inflated image of themselves, and if when you listen to people like Klaus Schwab sitting there on the stage talking to his congregation and saying straight out that what was the he said something like we are making the future, we are shaping the future. Yeah, so they are deciding and they're shaping the future, and us peasants, we will just have to uh to bend the knee. Yeah, good luck with that, Klaus. Oh yeah, Mr. Sorpo says Schwab is skimming money from the World Economic Forum funds. Yeah, he's extremely corrupt. He was, investigated, but somehow he managed to get out of that sticky situation. Uh, Kronoset, thanks for the donation. Birth was an SHTF situation to start with. It's a struggle and it's good to stay strong. Okay, thank you. Sorry, but what means SHTF? I don't want to say because it's a somewhat rude word. I don't know what is okay to say anymore. Yeah. but people in the chat will explain. So yeah, that word actually got censored there. Tiffany Ons, I'm sorry about that. That's that's just how it is. Okay. Yeah. Well, let me also address a topic that I have this ambivalent um, relation to this topic. Doom and gloom, you know, doom and gloom. Is it so that us people here on YouTube, are we using doom and gloom to get uh, views and make money? I'm sure there are. I know there are people who do that, and I'm sure there are people who would accuse me of doing that as well. I hope that you think that I'm being objective, or at least as objective as I can be. Um, if I wanted views, well, I want views, to be honest with you. Of course, I want views. But if that was the main objective with this channel, I would not be sitting here doing these live streams and with this setup and things like that, you know. And I'm trying to have a discussion. I'm trying to make this a forum for discussion where we can find solutions and build each other up, you know. I'm not going to say that, you know, you're going to suffer, it's going to be terrible, but I will say that fools will die in an SHTF situation. And I guess it's up to you to first of all decide if you are actually one of those fools. I have to ask myself, am I doing something very stupid now? Am I naive? Am I not prepared? What about my family? Am I doing what I can to provide for them? Or am I being foolish when it comes to the preps for my whole family here? So it is important that we ask ourselves also that, you know, uh, am I being the fool now? You know? And as I said, we have to adapt, we have to be flexible, and tomorrow you will know more, you will have gained more wisdom, more knowledge, and you will have to adjust your plans and everything according to that. So, but you know, there are people out there who are just inflexible, and they will probably not. I don't know. I don't want to say, but you know, uh, and there are people, as I said, who just behave like fools on a daily basis, and they will probably not stop behaving like fools in an SHTF situation. You will find people who say that, well, I'll come to your house and take your stuff. And it's like, it is the worst plan ever. Because if there's one thing I know about preppers, they they are kind of, they have this mindset that they will not give things away um, if people come and demand that they give things away. It's, yeah, it's not going to end so well for people who come on their door. um, so you know, um, yeah, that's just how it is. um, Horror Business says, I just got back to the States from Norway and I saw almost no fat people there. Here in Norway, you mean? Um, Well, we have there are certainly fat people here, but, but maybe not as many as in your country. Uh, but you know what? Here's a funny thing for you. Um, I would rather trust a fat survivalist over a skinny one. So, so you know what I'm saying? It's like that's just how it is. Uh, that guy knows how to find food. You know. Someone said here something that I disagree with immensely. Um, Heavy lifting is not good for those over 45 years old. I disagree. I do a lot of heavy lifting in the gym, but I will agree that heavy lifting is not so good when you're lifting like logs, rocks, and yesterday I was lifting and dragging a little tree because I had to move it and replant it. That was not so good for me. But heavy lifting in the gym is awesome. It keeps you young. uh, so SH says, and many people are so disconnected from nature and even our own bodies. That is true. That we have trouble even recognizing our gut feelings that would help us survive. Yes, absolutely. And another thing here is that we should be honest with ourselves about being afraid. At the end of the day, you're not that tough. I'm not that tough. You're not that tough. At the end of the day, if things are really difficult, you're going to struggle. Okay. And there are things out there that you are afraid of. There are things out there that I'm afraid of. I will admit that straight away. And it might not seem like there's any sense and reason connected to it at all. So, and it's highly individual. For me, I'm never afraid out in the wilderness, out in nature. I feel very safe there. I'm never afraid out at sea. Well, I've been in a storm, been in some very, very big waves up the coast of Portugal. That was a bit scary, but I am I'm kind of I don't like buildings, empty buildings out. You're walking and then you find some empty buildings. I don't like that. I think that's very scary. So, and it's foolish, it's just nonsensical. But I think we all have things like that. Um, so empty buildings, every zombie movie. Yeah, there are zombies in there, right? And ghosts and things. No, I don't believe in any in ghosts or anything like that. I'm very boring that way. But I still find empty buildings quite scary. Um, it, it's stupid, stupid. So let's see here. Becca Im says we really have no idea what to do till an event actually happens. Yeah, we can prepare. We can do our best to be prepared, and even some people even practice. Um, But at the end of the day, when it actually happens, it's the real thing, and that, you know, I think it's very different. It's like if you've done some martial arts, you know, you could say that's kind of fighting. But if that happens in the street, it is the real thing. It's very different. But you are much better prepared, right? So, uh, Sheki Pavel, that's horrible. That's horrible. And Veen says, don't wait till it happens. Yes. Um, that's very wise there, because it could be even too late to get out of a certain area. Um, so that's why I'm saying, you know, saying that bugging out is. I know it's, you know, the trend in the prepping community has gone towards, no, you should never bug out. No, you shouldn't bug out. Well, I think that's unrealistic. Uh, while I would say that it's foolish to think that you would just live off the land like a wild man out there. Some people can do that, but it's difficult, and it's not for everyone. But yeah, I lost my train of thought there. You have to balance these two ideas, right? So you shouldn't be too orthodox when it comes to either one of those mindsets. You know, again, you have to adapt, and you have to think forward. You know, um, Adam says, be careful who you talk to about prepping. Both of my siblings decided that they want me to help them instead of them looking after themselves. Took a while to tell them no. Um, yeah, and the hunting thing is also in most areas, for most people, it's kind of unrealistic, um, because it will be gone. If everyone starts hunting, it will be gone. Um, Fish is easier, simply because they are right now, you know, they're overfishing. It's one of the big uh, environmental catastrophes. You know, they don't talk so much about that, but the overfishing, they kill too many fish, to put it bluntly. You know, but maybe in an SHTF scenario, that industry would stop or come to a halt. That would mean that there would actually be, you know, after a while, more fish in the ocean and along the coast, maybe. Um, so, yeah. And some say that the fish is poisoned. Again, you know, you have to know your local area, um, your what's healthy, what's not healthy. Um, Janie, are you trying to ask me something? I didn't see that. I'm scrolling up here a little bit. Now I'm scrolling down. Okay, no, okay, okay. Yeah, well, where I live, we have a lot of fish. Um, and that would be the main source of protein. Uh, Now, I have a boat, and I could go quite far with that boat. But again, I'm just saying that's an option. But if everyone started fishing, everyone who lives along the coast started fishing, then you would have to go further and further out. And I know nothing about fishing out deep in the deep ocean. I know nothing about that. Um, so it's just an option. I do believe that having stored a lot of food and supplies is that's the best thing you can do now, or you should have done it already. But it's never too late. I have to say it's never too late, because uh, I won't say that it's too late now. I won't say that. So let's just say it's never too late, but please start now, today. Um, and and again, because I think, I don't know, but I think it in my part of the world, it won't be dramatic. Um, on that one, I hope I'm right. I really hope I'm right. I think it won't be dramatic, and maybe the only thing that will happen is that everything gets even more and more expensive, and that's it. And I don't know. But it could get a lot worse. We don't know. So be prepared. When I was in the Boy Scouts, our slogan was always prepared. you know. Um, yes, survival skills extremely important. Now, why is that? Well, because I think they are the basics of all skills, actually. So, and it's fun, you know. I'm not saying that you're going to be successful hunting with the primitive weapons that you made, but it's at least something you could look into, you know. Um, yeah. Leopold says there are two SHTF scenarios: zombie and police state. Zombies, yeah, I wouldn't bet on actual zombies, but police state sadly seems to be, you know, well, we are seeing that, we have seen that before, and it is perhaps what I fear the most, a police state, because you're up against such a mighty enemy. And yes, the state will be your enemy if you live in a police state. uh, and get in shape as well. Yes, extremely important. And it's simple. Start walking. Take a walk every day. Um, if you can, lift some weights. Um, Try to eat healthy if you can. Um, but be active, be active. Okay. Um, let's see here. Martina is walking now. Um, that's wonderful. And James Alexander says, quit smoking and drinking. Yes, absolutely. That's wise. People should quit. smoking and drinking. Um, Linda says, my grandfather was in a Russian POW camp and had to eat grass to survive. That's horrible. Um, okay. Ginger, I hope you get better. Um, I'm sure you will. I mean, you will get better, but I hope you get better soon. You know, nobody likes to be ill. So, yeah, well, I think doing long distance stuff, as Carol says here, is kind of important. Being able to cover some distance with a backpack. I mean, it's kind of important to be able to do that, um, because what if you have to? What if? I mean, the first thing they do is they close the border. Okay, that means you can't get away by car. Now, if you live in the USA, it's like that's, well, you could go to Canada, Mexico, um, but you don't really have borders. You're just one continent in a way. But in other countries, you might want to leave your country. Um, and if you have to do that in such a situation, you probably will have to do it by foot illegally. Yes. We're talking again about an SHTF situation. Um, and again, do I think that will happen? Well, it doesn't matter what I think. I'm just saying that it is good to be able to cover distance with a backpack. And it's good exercise as well. A medium, heavy, or light backpack, and walk for 10 kilometers. That's great exercise. Some people like to use hiking poles. Takes a lot of load off your knees and hips. So I like to use hiking poles myself, um, and yeah, it's good exercise. I'm a strong believer in walking. I think it's very healthy. Um, okay, camping and hiking, absolutely. It's says Emerald Rider. It's great way to practice for an SHTF situation if you're able to. But sadly, many are disabled and cannot practice this. Uh, I will finish the live stream very soon now, but let me just say that um, most of us have people like parents or people we know who are not in good shape. They are maybe old, they have some injury, maybe they are disabled, maybe they have some illness. And you have to decide if you're going to leave them behind. And I'm going to tell you that I'm not leaving those people behind. Yes, I know it makes things more difficult, but I'm not doing that. So I'm saying that, always saying that I carry just an ultralight backpack, but I'm ready to carry a heavy backpack with a lot of stuff for other people. Um, that's just me. You might decide that you can't. If you have to leave, I'm talking about having to leave. And again, the threshold should be higher for leaving when you have people who can't walk very far with you, right? But again, you might have to. So and if you are in that situation that you have some kind of disability maybe, or some kind of injury, if can you reach out to someone, maybe try to get in touch with someone you can work with on this, so that you won't be stuck there, you know. Let's see. Lorem Ipsens is asking, have you asked them what they want you to do? People can be quite selfless at times. No, I haven't asked. And I think when we're talking about the older generation, the young ones here will say I'm the older generation, but people even older than me, they are a lot more obedient to the system, so to speak. That's how I see it. And you can't force people to start walking into the woods with you. No, you can't do that. But at least you should be prepared to do what you can, so that you don't have to leave them there. And many have kids, many have small kids. So again, this idea that it's just you're a single individual in your prime, physically fit, and you've done this before, you are prepared. Well, that's great, but most people are not in that situation. But now we're getting into actually a different topic here. So I will have to end this live stream now. Richard, thanks a lot for your donation. That is awesome. Just quickly, you're asking, what gear do you recommend for wet countries like Norway? It's not that wetter. I wish it was wetter, actually. And also drying your things in a wet country. It's rained for 2 weeks on the west coast. Yeah, well, on the west coast of Norway, it's much more rain. I would say, well, you obviously need rain jacket and rain pants, and a waterproof backpack, or a bag, waterproof bag for your backpack cover. Sorry. Apart from that, and good boots. Apart from that, just be sensible. Most people like to use a tent, or a tarp. I don't like to use a tarp myself because of all the bugs, and especially the ticks. Hope I answered your question there. Yeah, it would be great if you hit the like button. That would be awesome. So I have to end this live stream now, as I haven't had my dinner yet, and it's time for that now. Red meat, as I said, So, okay. I hope you like these live streams. I can't promise to do them as often as this, always, but I'll do my best. It was good to see you all, and take care, and as always, stay strong.